At it again, and we've got one here that is going to be touching on kind of what happened recently, right? And I've got some thoughts on it, but I'll give my thoughts later on in the video about this whole issue. But before we get into it, make sure you guys hit that like button, and if you are not subscribed to the channel already, hit that subscribe button down below and join the family. All right, join the family, and make sure you guys are following me on social media: Instagram, Twitter, Truth Social, Discord server. All of that good stuff is down below. And with that being said, let's dive in.
Still 20 House seats that are left in play, and Republicans need just 7 of them to flip the House. And while the results are still unclear,
that is close. That is close. You know, right after midterms, we're all, oh yeah, we got it locked in the bag. You know, we got it locked up. We got the House. We got the House. Possibly have the Senate. The Senate's already lost. I mean, still there's the Herschel Walker Warnock race, which I still think is important. And one of the things that broke my heart a little bit, and we're going to jump back into this video, is, I was on Twitter the other day and I saw a thread. I don't remember whose post it was under, but there was a thread of people talking about quitting and giving up. And I'm just like, wait, what? Quit? Give up? They must not have seen the YouTube short that I dropped just the other day of Trump saying, hey, never quit. Never give up. Never quit. I don't care how bad the odds may seem or look, we don't quit. And, after my initial thoughts kind of subsided of like, man, that's crazy, just quitting. I was like, man, these must be like leftists pretending to be Republicans. Because I don't know Republicans that are quitting. That doesn't seem like the Republican way. Quitting and giving up, just throwing their hands up in the air, I'll forget about it. Nah. And I hope that's not the case. Y'all can let me know in the comment section if you've heard that more and more from the right. I hope that isn't the case, because that's what they want, obviously. They want to beat us into submission. The way that I see it, I'm not giving them anything that they want. You want me to quit. You want me to give up. You want me to just throw my hands up in the air because, I may think something is happening, right? But nah, I'm not giving you that satisfaction. I'm going to continue to come back over and over and over and over again until the man upstairs says, all right, it's time to go home. I'm going to keep coming back. Period. Y'all let me know how y'all feeling though. I ain't quitting. I'll be darned if I quit.
there is one thing that does remain clear. The red wave didn't materialize this midterm election season. Why? Well, one of former President Trump's former White House advisor nailed the analysis on Sunday Morning Futures.
I guess the number one reason for that is Democrat mastery of mail-in balloting, vote harvesting, and the machinery of the early vote in these states where they're voting for weeks, if not months, before the election.
I touched on that in the video that I made right after midterms, a day after midterms, once I collected my thoughts on, what I felt was going on and what went wrong and yada, 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 especially like in the Fetterman Oz situation. I feel like had it not been for early voting, Oz would have won. Because if I remember the numbers correctly, it was like 700,000 people voted early. 700,000. And a good, huge portion of those were before the debate. Before the debate. So I would like to believe, especially from, and we checked out some focus groups, I would like to believe at least 200 and some thousand people would have changed, their vote after they saw that debate. Because a lot of people came out concerned, and we saw videos of it. We saw videos of it. So, yeah, I think early voting had a whole lot to do with that situation. So, yeah.
Disparity between the Democrats and Republicans is still enormous. Number 3 is the need to win independent voters by seizing on winning wedge issues and fighting for them with every breath that you have. Democrats do this, Republicans don't. Is there any voter in this country who believes that if Republicans won the House and the Senate, that they would immediately shut down the border crisis, that they would move heaven and earth, shut the government down if they had to seal up that southern border, to save this country from open borders. Nobody believes that.
All right, so there's obviously a lot to unpack there. But Charlie, let's go ahead and start in Nevada, for example, where we do.
He's got a point. Unfortunately, he's got a little bit of a point there. Now, obviously, you know, with the left controlling basically everything, it makes that a whole lot more difficult. But it has to get done. What has to get done is what has to get done. Republicans have to get better at messaging. And I touched on that a little bit, but I was more so focused on the youth, because the youth honestly made a huge difference in the midterms this year. They came out hot and heavy. And obviously for youth, they don't care about the economy. They're living with mom and dad. They really don't have any bills. They're living with mom and dad. Mom and dad are paying for everything. You know, they might have a little job at Starbucks or whatever. You know what I mean? And no disrespect to anybody who works at Starbucks, but my point is their main concern is not the economy. It's not. It was abortion. It was abortion. And then you have people like, a swamp monster that I'm learning about, like Lindsey Graham, who came out like 2 weeks before the midterms. Oh, I want to outright ban it. Right before the midterms? Like, even Democrats aren't that stupid. Even Democrats aren't that stupid to say something right before the midterms. Joe Biden was pulling from the strategic reserves to lower the gas prices, and now look what the gas prices are doing right after the midterms. They're starting to go back up again. Go check your local gas prices. Same thing with the student loan debt forgiveness. Oh, what do you know? Joe Biden actually couldn't do that, but he told everybody he could. He told everybody he could right before, guess what? Midterms. Oh, yeah, we're going to forgive all of your student loan debt. Oh, all of these kids. Oh, we're going to go vote for the Democrats. Right after midterms happen. That's unconstitutional. They play the game. Democrats play the game, and Republicans, from what I'm finding out, just absolutely suck or just refuse to play the game too. And I'm not saying you have to be corrupt. To play the game, you don't have to be corrupt. But you have to play the game. You swamp monster like Lindsey Graham, he's trying to sabotage. Mitch McConnell, get these. See, I almost said some things that weren't very nice. But let's just say this: get these swamp monsters out of here. Mitch McConnell, guys like Lindsey Graham, get them out of there. Get them out. All right, we need some young, fresh blood in there. You know, no disrespect to older folks. We respect our elders. We love our elders, but guys like those, they don't do us any good in the Republican Party, in my humble opinion. You guys can let me know how you feel about it in the comment section. But let's continue on.
You know that 79% of the votes were early votes. Right? We have expanded election season. We give people more time to vote. They can do it in person early. In some places, they're mailing in their ballots, 79%. And now we know the Republicans have lost Nevada as well. And so we're waiting for that runoff in Georgia. If Herschel Walker were to win, we'd have a tie. But Vice President Harris, once again, would be the tiebreaker.
Right. And, obviously this is a disaster. It's a week after the election and we're still talking about it. And any conversation that you have about ballots and you talk about late early ballots, you probably have a problem if that's what you're talking about. But this notion that ballots that are cast on Election Day are the problem here, that's not the problem. The problem is that we are still voting, holding elections under this pandemic crisis mode where instead of Election Day, you have election week or election weeks. Which, of course, not only does it actually invite real problems in terms of the credibility of the election, but then you have a situation like this where not only do you actually invite real problems with an accurate election, you also have everybody just thinking that the game is rigged and that the thing is fraudulent.
Perception is sometimes more important than reality to some people and in their minds. And we talked about this yesterday. Every vote counts. Every vote matters. Republicans, I think that they were exactly right when we said we need to get a handle on our election systems. We don't play the game. It's one thing to complain about the game. It's another thing that we don't play it at all. We still say.
I just said the same thing. And I've said it before. I don't remember which video that was. If you guys remember what video that was, I've said the same thing before too. Play the game. Play the game. Thank you, Tommy. Thank you. Somebody repeated what I said. Thank you. Oh my goodness. Tell him again, Tommy, please.
They were exactly right when we said we need to get a handle on our election systems. We don't play the game. It's one thing to complain about the game. It's another thing that we don't play it at all. We still say vote on election day. We don't fight for those early votes. We don't ballot harvest. We don't play the games that the Democrats play because we want to be self-righteous, but we keep losing because we're that self-righteous. So we're going to have to play the game. We're going to have to do some of what they do.
Even if you don't want to play the game forever, play the game long enough to win. Then you can fix the whole system. Once you're the leader, once you control all three, you can change things. You can make the changes. Then you don't have to play the game anymore. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different result. You're not going to win unless you play the game. The only thing the left has continued to do is ratchet up their tactics in playing the game. And I see a bunch of Republicans just like, oh, no, not playing. How in the world do you expect to win? Play the game to win. Once you win, you can make a difference. But you got to play first.
There are two causes with one effect here. One is the technical issue of how elections are handled. I mean, if you want, the Democrats will pass a Voting Rights Act that will federalize how states elect federal offices, but that's not what Republicans want. So it's hard to complain in one hand about how some states hold their elections, while on the other hand advocating against any kind of federal law that would federalize those elections. So there has to be a little bit of you got to reconcile this a little bit. But if you go back to just strategy and how you win votes no matter how they come in, it's hard for me to stomach Rick Scott pointing a finger at Mitch McConnell for the way he elaborated his strategy, which was to talk about how bad Democrats are, when Rick Scott put out a tax plan that no other Republican supported, that the Democrats were able to message saying that because Rick Scott is Republican leadership, it was the Republican tax plan. So, Rick Scott stands there and says, well, McConnell didn't have a good plan. Well, he can only say that because he put a plan out there that Democrats used against us. And so this is more about Republicans getting on the same page, or just as much as it is about how Pennsylvania or Nevada or Colorado does their elections.
Yeah.
That's another thing too. That's another great point. So there's quite a number of things that us folks on the right can do. And one of them, like you just mentioned, is we have to get on the same page. Get on the same page. When have you ever seen a bunch of there's a little infighting going on now. But when it comes to big issues, once it comes down to the nitty gritty, they're all on the same page. There might be a little infighting here or there, you know what I mean? But come election time, come time to do your part, guess what? They're all on the same page. Republicans are not. They're not. Ah, man. He's 100% correct on that. Y'all let me know if y'all agree in the comment section, please.
Well, speaking of Rick Scott, he was on Sunday Morning Futures earlier this morning. Let's take a listen.
We haven't even finished what's happened in Georgia. Here's my focus is we still got to win Georgia. I'm not going to take anything off the table, but my job right now is to do everything I can help Herschel with. I'm going to be there today helping Herschel. So that's what my focus is.
I think Ted Cruz was in Georgia helping out campaign for Herschel. But every Republican should be there. Every Republican. Mitch McConnell should be there. Any Republican with a name, DeSantis, Trump, they all should be there. We all should be rallying behind Republicans. We all should be rallying behind them. And I don't know. I just don't feel that cohesiveness. But maybe I'm wrong. Y'all talk to me, please.
I think that Rick Scott's exactly right about that. It's easy to sit here and say that the Georgia race doesn't matter because it doesn't determine the outcome of Senate leadership.
It matters.
He's correct about that. But Georgia is still a very, very important race because, especially going forward, that one vote is going to matter after 2 years and after 4 years, I suspect. But Mitch McConnell has a real problem on his hands right now because, and we're already starting to see people trying to circle the wagons in the Senate, trying to protect him. But the bottom line is, Mitch McConnell has been part of leadership for 20 years. He has been the leader for 15 years.
Yeah.
And so many of the problems, whether it is addressing this issue of the way voting is conducted in different states, whether we're talking about candidate selection, which he wants to dump all over, or we're talking about the message that Republicans carry forward, then I'm sorry, that falls to his feet. And we were talking earlier, if you're a college football coach and you come up with a losing season like this, you're going to pay a hefty price.
No, absolutely, and I don't want to jump right back in, but I'm not taking up for Mitch McConnell. I'm just saying I don't like the posture of some of these Republicans who are basically knives out seizing opportunities. And that's what Rick Scott looks like to me. And I think that's not unity. That's not getting on the same page. And just to go back to Georgia, 50-50 versus 51-49, how much of the Democrats' legislative agenda that didn't pass or got passed with a lot of Republican input because of someone like Joe Manchin, how much of that is rubber stamped with 49 Republican senators over the last 2 years?
I just want to pause for a second and read you a tweet from Senator Josh Hawley. He said,
Hold on. But before she gets into it, I agree. We should be on the same page, but at the same time, you got to call a spade a spade. I think it's time for the swamp monsters to step aside and let some somebody fresh get in there. I mean, let's be real. Who's getting excited to hear Mitch McConnell give a speech of any sort? Does he rally the troops in any way, shape, or form? You know what I mean? I'm just saying. I just personally think there needs to be somebody fresh in that position. It's my humble opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. I understand. I could be wrong on anything that it is that I say. All right? Y'all talk to me in the comment section, though. Let's continue.
the old party is dead. Time to bury it. Build something new. Tommy.
A lot of Republican voters are feeling that way, but then we have to consider a whole new mess that's probably coming our way if we have a Trump announcement this week. And we're going to talk about that later. But if we're thinking we're divided now between McConnell and Rick Scott and all the rest of it, wait until Donald Trump's name is back in the running officially. I know he's been hinting at it for a long time, but when it's officially there, not only will that impact Georgia, likely, it's going to be whether Democrats hate Donald Trump or Republicans love Donald Trump enough to push Georgia over the line. But there's going to be a lot of issues in the Republican Party that we have 2 years to sort out. We better start today.
Yeah, no, and it's a good fight.
If he announces Herschel has to win, that has to be a statement win. That has to be a statement win. There needs to be ads running 24/7. 24/7, boots on the ground, going around neighborhoods, getting the message out. In my humble opinion, if Trump announces and Herschel wins with a decent margin, that's going to send shockwaves. It's going to send shockwaves, not only through the left, but more so even through the right, because people are going to see, oh, okay, all right, the troops have spoken, kind of thing. Like, I mean, of course, I feel like you'll still have a few people, even in the Republican Party, that are like, no, we don't want Trump back. But I mean, who else are we going to have? DeSantis? DeSantis can't beat Trump one-on-one. Let's be real. And I love DeSantis. Listen, I would love for DeSantis to be president, but he's not beating Trump one-on-one. It's just not happening. Let's call a spade a spade. Let's not be delusional. Let's be real about this. He's not beating Trump. Come on.
And I think it's an important fight to have, but I do think it's important to remember that one thing that we saw last week is that Mitch McConnell isn't able to run a national election, and Donald Trump and the people who agree with him have at least won and come close.
Hey, so y'all can let me know how you feel about everything that I had to say, which obviously I had to say a whole lot. And let me know if I was wrong. If I'm wrong, I'll accept that, but let me know why I'm wrong. All right. I have no issue with possibly being wrong. I understand that I could be wrong on any day and anything that it is that I say. But let me know why. You know, give me your reasoning behind it. Or if you think that I'm 100% right, let me know why as well. Yeah, I think Mitch McConnell has to go. I think he has to go. I was reading through the comment section of this video, and somebody posted something that was very, very interesting in the comment section of the video that we just checked out. It said, soldiers don't lose wars, generals do. And I'll leave it at that. Like, share, comment, hit that subscribe button if you're new. Peace and love. I'm out.